Running a travel business can be overwhelming, but imagine if there was a single tool that helped you look professional, stay organized, was easy to use, and affordable. That's just what Travefy does. Travefy gives you the essential tools you need to look like a travel biz pro. Travefy is the most trusted system used by over 30,000 travel brands worldwide. So get started with a system that helps you get back to the joy of planning travel and run your travel business like a pro with Travefy.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Lynn, your systems and delegation coach, and I love getting to help travel advisors go from overwhelmed to being in control CEOs. I have a bunch of free resources for you as you go through Prep for Wave Week. You can scan the QR code or text the number below. I want to send you a couple really awesome things that are going to help you not be overwhelmed when the wave hits.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4. It is sales day. If you're new around here, hopefully you've seen my face already a little bit. My name is Rita M. Perez. I'm the host of the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast and of Prep for Wave Week. So welcome. I hope you have already gotten lots of golden nuggets from Essentials Day, operations, marketing, and now sales day. I feel like sales day is like the forgotten topic sometimes, even though that's a very important thing that you need to be doing within your travel agency. I am so excited to have this conversation. You may know her from a couple other things within the industry, but welcome, Whitney, to Prep for Wave Week.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really thrilled to be back.
Yes, I cannot wait because I think we've done podcasts before, but I'm not sure if I've
Mhm.
had you on Prep for Wave Week before. So you're celebrating
We're
with us
we're
on the
always
fifth
kind of
annual.
we're always kind of circling around each other's universes. So
Yeah.
anything that you plan is always fun and exciting.
Yes, and you are the founder of the Hive, amongst a list of other things within the industry. Tell us, if somebody hasn't heard of the Hive before, what is the Hive, and also how did you get into the industry?
Oh, well, I got into the industry almost 15 years ago,
Yeah.
when I applied for a job that I was not qualified for,
Oh no.
in a five-star hotel. I just say not qualified because all of my colleagues at the time had like Swiss hospitality degrees, so like very
Um,
fancy, knew how to like line up all the forks kind of degrees. And they
uh-huh.
were like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "Well, I speak French and Mandarin," so they gave me the job because I was in China at the time.
Uh-huh.
So I worked in a five-star hotel. So that was where I kind of got my foot into the tourism industry and never looked back. And then 10 years ago, I left the hotel to start my travel agency, Undiscovered Sunsets. And so it kind of goes from there. Everything I've done since then has been for my deep love and passion and, just motivation around the travel industry because I love what we do so much. I feel so lucky that we get to
Yeah.
do what we do every day.
Yeah.
And so Undiscovered Sunsets is my agency that I started 10 years ago. And then 5 years ago, Masters in Travel came because I was really like craving community and, bigger conversations that I wasn't getting at like host agency events or consortia
Yeah.
events. I was really just craving kind of like deeper in the trenches, advisor to advisor type of conversations, but on a super regular basis. So I was like, well, let's start a podcast and see if anybody listens. And
Right.
now we're like 5 years in, and a lot of people love it. And then I started the Hive, which if you haven't heard of the Hive, I consider it like the information center of the industry
Yeah.
for travel advisors. So this is where I go on a daily basis when I have questions like, is that hotel part of consortia? Who reps this hotel? What's the email address for that DMC? Have any of my colleagues ever worked with this, transportation company or boat company or DMC? Like, what did they think about it? What's their feedback on it?
Mhm.
Or like, I think I'm at this hotel at a fan. Did I take notes about them? Yes, my notes are in the Hive. So this
Yeah.
is where I research. This is where I take my notes. This is where I connect with other colleagues to ask them questions. So it is like it is my brain. The Hive is
Yeah.
my travel brain, but out of my brain so that I can sleep at night.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And we have a special announcement coming up, travel advisors. So you're going to stay tuned towards the end because you're going to hear it first here. And I cannot wait.
Exciting.
I also love having you on for your expertise on like the FIT side because my brain is like so cruise focused or event focused that some of this stuff kind of gets overlooked in my brain because that's not the first thing I think about.
Mhm.
Also, if any travel advisors did want to listen a little bit more about what the Hive is and what it can do, I will link up our conversation, or at least the sign up for the Travel Tech Audio Summit, where we talked a lot about the Hive. So that'll be an even
Yeah,
deeper dive
perfect.
there.
Mhm,
Um,
perfect.
but from the FIT perspective and sales, I know because we're going to talk a lot about like client experience, but also kind of uh, guiding them towards like the right decision for what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So when it comes to questions, really, are there right types of questions that you should be asking the clients versus are there wrong types of questions when the client initially like either enters your inbox, gives you a phone call, fills out your form? Is there, I feel like almost like red flags and green flags. Like what's a green flag of a question and
Um,
what's a red flag of a question?
that's an interesting question because I hadn't really thought about it like that. I generally think about it as just like leading with curiosity, just general
Uh,
curiosity. So if I get a phone call or a new inquiry, um, my goal is to ask as many questions as possible and to talk as little as possible. Like in the first 20 or 30 minutes of meeting someone, it is my goal to understand who they are, what they're looking for, why they've reached out to me,
mhm.
how I can potentially support. And then if we get, 20 or 30 minutes in that everything they've shared with me feels aligned with the services that I'm offering, then I'll share with them what I do and how I work and how we can collaborate. But my first priority up front is just lead with curiosity,
Love them.
like, so I don't have any red flag questions specifically like jumping top of mind, but I'm asking questions that if you just randomly call me, which happened this week, that I was like, hello, and she's like, oh, blah blah, and I was like, nice to meet you. Let me put my sandwich down for a second, like let's go chat. um I if somebody reaches out, I try to understand how are we connected, right? So like, how did you get my name or number? Like who, and generally it's coming from a previous client or a friend or something. And so immediately it's like, oh, you're so and so's sister. That's amazing. And so then I get to send that person a text message immediately after our call and say, like, thanks for connecting us. So I always try to first understand, like, how did we get here? How did you find me? Or if you found me on Instagram, like, I want to know that because we put in so much time and energy into that. And I feel like
Right.
nobody's ever watching. So, like, I try to understand, how did we get connected? Where do you want to go? What do you have in mind? Why now? When are you thinking about the trip? How did you decide on this destination? Or if they don't know the destination, that's okay. I actually prefer that. That's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Um, like trying to understand, like, why did you decide on this destination? Like, why Italy? Is it just because everyone says Italy, or because you have a specific vision to go to a place that millions of other people also want to go to?
Mhm.
Um, is this your first time visiting that destination? That's actually my favorite question, because if you've been before versus like if you're a first time visitor to a destination versus a repeat visitor, like that for me, that opens up a whole host of new questions and like new possibilities.
Yeah.
Um, I love when people don't know where they want to go, or when they just are like open. They're like, well, we were thinking kind of like Croatia or Greece, but like, we've heard Portugal's really cool too. And I'm like, yes, they have no, like, this is open. Like, this is an
Uh-huh.
open book. Now we just get to explore. And if that happens, then I step entirely away from destination. And I actually just tell them, like, let's just slide destination over to the side of the table for a minute and let's just talk about you. Like,
Love
what do
that.
you enjoy? How do you like to travel? It's about, how does someone like to spend their life in general? Like,
Mhm.
if you have an opportunity to sleep in and have a late breakfast and like slowly ease into your day, or if you really prefer to be like up and at 'em, I don't eat breakfast, let's go. Like that already, that energy of who you are as a person, regardless of whether you're on vacation or not, helps me start imagining what kind of trip you might be into, what kind of trip you might
Mhm.
like.
Yeah.
Um, understanding, like, I ask a lot about like hobbies and interests to understand, like, do you love food? Like, is food like a priority for you? Like, is food why you get out of bed, or is food just
Love
sustenance?
that.
Like, where are you on the spectrum of food? And understanding, like, I get out of bed for food. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm going somewhere that doesn't have good food, I would rather not go. Whereas other people are like, we love a good meal, but like this isn't the priority for us. And that helps me steer toward one destination over another. Not
Okay.
every destination is known for like over the top food and culinary experiences, right?
Hmm.
Um, I love to understand like, do you like to get outside? Like, do you like to go for a walk? Do you like to go for a bike ride? If there was a boat day available, would that be the best day of your life, or could you pass on it? Do
Yeah.
you like to drive? Do you love a scenic drive, or does 3 or 4 hours in the car sound awful? You know,
Hmm.
like Ireland and Scotland are great examples, and New Zealand. Like, if you don't like a scenic drive, or if you don't like to be kind of in a car pretty much every day or every other day,
Hmm.
those destinations might not be a good fit. Like
Hmm.
the draw of Ireland is the scenery, and to see the scenery, you're
Right.
probably in a car quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so I try to understand, like from an experiential perspective, what types of things get you excited? Do you love museums, or do you not want to even see a single museum, right?
Hmm.
If you tell me that you hate museums, I might give you permission to not go to Florence. Like, go to Florence for the day or go stay in Tuscany, but like a big draw of Florence is these incredible museums.
Yep.
Um, I have clients going to London and they're going to a museum every single day, a different museum every day.
Nice.
Others will go to London and not see a single museum, right? So just trying to like, I had clients this last summer that they love concerts and sporting events. So like
Uh-huh.
in one 10-day trip, they had like multiple they queued at Wimbledon, they went to two music concerts, they went to a West End show, like a Broadway show. And then we tried to fit in like a sporting event, and like in the end it just didn't work. But like they were like, we don't need museums or like walking tours, like we want like culture, like local culture and events. And so like that drove the conversation.
Love that.
So I don't know if this is helpful, but like
Yeah.
I just like get as curious as I possibly can. And if you know where you want to go, then it just helps me kind of hone in on what exactly you might do while you're there. But if you
Mhm.
don't know where you want to go, I just kind of sit back and listen and be like, are we museum people? Are we arty people? Are we food people? Are we nature people? Are we a little bit of everything people? Are
Yeah.
we beach and boat people? And based on what you share with me, then that actually helps me be like, you might love this destination,
Mhm.
and
I
helps me kind of present ideas that they might not have otherwise thought of.
Yeah, because I wrote down, I'm like, but what if they don't know? Because I know that that's like a popular question amongst travel advisors. They're going to get at some point at least one client who's like, I want to go to Portugal. And this just recently happened. Somebody came up to me and I referred it out. Um, I think they wanted Portugal, but then they wanted Italy. I just saw that they landed in Scotland, and I'm like, oh boy. So
So
I love those pointers.
I think that it's really common. I get this all the time too, of where do you want to go? Well, we don't really know, or why do you want to go to Portugal, or why do you want to go to Ireland? Well, you know, and people don't really have like solid answers for those questions. And that's, I that is can be like hard sometimes when you're trying to meet someone new and you're like trudging through mud trying to like have a conversation with someone who's not giving you anything. But I
Uh-huh.
actually would step back and think like maybe that's not a fair question. Like if
Mm,
someone who doesn't travel very often, like maybe it totally makes sense that they don't know what they want. I mean,
yeah.
if we take ourselves and we like drop ourselves in like some kitchen, like new kitchen construction store, and they're like, well, what kind of cabinets do you want? I mean, I would be like, oh, what are the options? I don't, what kind of cabinets do I want? I thought I
Right.
just need a cabinet, like, oh, well, there's all these different types of wood and there's all these different types of materials. And,
Mhm.
so like I think sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we like live, eat, and breathe and dream travel all day,
Yeah.
every day. And
Yeah.
so we always have a short list of where we want to go next. But a lot of people who travel, they think about travel once a year when they're
Mhm.
planning and then when they're going. And then the rest of their time is focused on other priorities in their life.
Yeah.
So I would almost take the risk to say that maybe asking someone, where do you want to go, is not a fair question, or it's not the best question.
Yes.
And like lean into just learning about that person. Like when you are at home, one of the like if it's hard to if they're not giving you a lot of conversational like help, just tell them like, if I gave you $500, or it could be any amount, it could be $200, it doesn't matter. If I give
Uh-huh.
you $500 to spend in your local city this weekend, what would you do and who would you take? How would you spend that money?
That's a fun question.
It's really fun because you find you learn so much by their answer. So I
Yes.
did this with my friends one time, and someone was like, "Oh, I would get like my three closest girlfriends and take them to the Civic Center, which is like our like performing arts center." And I was
Uh-huh.
like, "Okay, noted."
Yeah.
Like she wants to be social, she wants to spend time with her friends, she wants to like treat her friends, she wants to go to a show. Um, and then for me, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to the spa for the full day alone."
I love it.
Right? So like you just by the way someone answers that question, and
Yeah,
it's actually not about travel. It's just who
correct.
are you? How do you like spending your time? How do you prioritize like spending money and what
Mhm.
feels important to you? One question like that, you can learn a lot from someone.
Yeah, what I particularly love about this and like your style, I'm not sure what the right word, but the style of question asking is that this has nothing to do with the transaction. And
Right.
this is also what positions travel advisors like between like just doing a transaction, like here's the money, here's your here's your trip, versus like this is what working with a modern travel advisor is. It's about
Hmm.
this whole consultative process. These, like being able to ask these types of questions are going to be part of what I feel differentiates you from a bot or from
Yes.
AI.
Yes, for sure. Because any sort of a bot or AI or even just like a call center kind of
Mhm.
conversation, if you call in and say, I want to go to XYZ hotel in, Mexico or whatever, they'll be like, okay,
Mhm.
it's $562 a night, two adults, breakfast
There you go.
included, and give me
Yeah.
your credit card. Or someone will say, I really like to go to Turks and Caicos, but like we don't know much about it. Like we're not sure where we want to stay. And you know what the answer they're gonna give is like, well, here are my three favorite hotels.
Mhm.
How much do you want to spend?
Oh,
There was no question
that's a
in
good
there other than
one.
how much do you want to spend? Okay, how
Yeah.
much do you want to spend is a red flag question.
Uh-huh. Oh,
To answer your question from the beginning, Rita,
thank
that is
you.
not the
I
question that we
love
are
that.
asking. I ask that question at the very, very end. So as I was
Uh-huh.
kind of sharing, like lead in with like lean into curiosity and get to know someone for 20 or 30 minutes before you tell them anything about yourselves. Because
Uh-huh.
something that they share with you might actually say, hey, this what you want to do is really great. It's possible I'm not the best fit, but like here's some guidance for you to kind of go on your way or whatnot.
Mhm.
So I do ask the budget question. And anyone who listens to the Masters in Travel podcast knows that I don't start a trip design if I don't know how much you want to spend or if I don't at least have a range. Like you have to
Right.
like what zone, what range are we in? Because I could do this a
Right.
million different ways. But that is the very, very, very last question I ask. And I package it almost together with here's how I work.
Mhm.
And so it's actually less of a question about themselves or about their trip. And it's more of like, here's how I work. Now,
Yeah.
in order to prepare a proposal for you, it's really important that I understand what level of investment you're most
This
comfortable
is
with.
awesome.
And again, that's not really a question. It's more
Yeah.
saying, I need to understand this in order to do what we're
Yeah.
talking about doing. And then sometimes they'll have a number for me, but often they don't. They really don't know. And so
Mhm.
then I can say, well, based on everything that you've just shared with me, we can do this trip that has a lot of independent time, a rental car, four-star hotels, maybe a guided activity here and there in each stop. And we're probably in like a ten to $12,000 range. Or we can do more private drivers and upgraded hotels and a few more experiences, and we might be in more like a 12 to $15,000 range. And if we want to go all out and do all the best things, we're probably in a $20,000 range. Like what feels most aligned with what you're envisioning?
Mhm.
And then they can kind of tell me where along that spectrum, because I can plan Italy all day long. I can plan a 10K Italy, a 15K Italy, a 40K Italy, a 20K Italy. I mean, I we got to know what you're looking for, right?
Right.
So I do ask that question, of course, but it is like it's like one of the last things we talk about.
Okay.
So
Is
red flag only if it's within like the first 10 minutes. Red flag. Don't ask that question so early.
and I feel like even just the typical logistical things, like wait until the end so that you can make a determination because they might think they want X, but really what they're telling you they want is Z. So I feel like that's also part of the process is how do you know or like what are some ways that you can like match what they're saying where they
Mhm.
say they might want to see the purple gorillas, but they really want to see the red giraffes.
Well, so this is where I think like leaning into curiosity helps you uncover if what they're saying is actually what they want. So
Mhm.
I will let anyone tell me what they want, but always, whether you know where you want to go or you don't know where you want to go, I am always taking a step back to say, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Have you traveled before? What type of travel do you like? What types of when you are traveling, what what things are you most excited to see and do and experience, right? And if they're
Mhm.
really struggling to answer these questions, if someone has traveled a little bit, they're usually like, "Oh, we love a cooking class. We really love history and culture. We like food tours." Like sometimes
Mhm.
people can give you kind of answers and kind of lead the way. If people are really like, "We don't know," then that is just ammo for us to dig deeper and ask more questions.
Okay.
And then I start giving them examples of like, okay, where on the food spectrum do you fall? Like, would you be interested in cooking classes, food tours, tasting menus, things like this? Or do you just want like a nice dinner reservation?
Mhm.
Everyone can answer that question.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to go to a museum, or like if you know where they want to go, like mention the iconic sites like the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, the Colosseum? Do you want to go to these places with a private guide who can really lead the way and provide context and tell you stories around these sites and really bring them to life for you? Or are you kind of interested in just like going in with some tickets and kind of exploring on your own?
Mhm.
Like so give them like this or that types of questions. Everyone can answer those questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I like those too because it kind of leans into almost a little bit of human psychology and I think about like human design where like there's like that gut reaction to something if you give them a clear like yes, no, this or that type of
Yeah.
option.
I mean, I'm not a cruise person, but I even do this for cruises when people are like, "We want to go on a cruise." Okay, so we've got, wow. Okay, do we have a region of the world we're thinking about? Is there a particular cruise line you have in mind? You're like, no, no, maybe like Scandinavia.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so then I will explain, like, I will actually jump to the end and be like, okay, I can offer you a million options,
Yeah.
but help me understand what the deciding factor is going to be. Are
Yeah.
you going to look at three or four different options and focus on the ship itself and the cabins, the balconies or no balconies, the restaurants and the entertainment on the ship? Is the ship a part of your experience?
Mhm.
Or are you going to hone in on the itineraries and every single place that that ship is going to stop? And based on which itinerary you enjoy most, that's how you're going to make a decision.
Yeah.
Just give them a this or that. And I have book clients who do both. Both are like, oh no, it needs to be a nice ship. Like, okay, noted. Others are like,
Yeah.
no, we're deciding on the itinerary, right?
Uh-huh.
And that information alone tells me so much about how to go research and then how to come back and actually present the options to them to
Yeah.
help close the sale.
That I was going to say this is a great segue because that's where I wanted to go to next was presenting the different options. Are
Yeah.
you presenting like maybe two different trip types or are you presenting like one trip and multiple different options for each of the segments? And by multiple different options, like maybe a couple different hotels, a couple different excursions like tours or these concerts or things like that. How do you how do you kind of balance between like giving too many options as well when you're in this
Yeah.
presenting field?
I always am on the spectrum of few options
Okay.
because I think that if people are coming to us, if they are engaging our services, trusting us with their time and their energy and their resources, they are coming to us so that we make the process not only easier and less complicated, but that hopefully they have a little fun too,
Hmm.
right? Like it is more fun to go talk to a financial advisor about investing than researching all weekend, worrying that we're making the wrong decisions. It is
Yeah.
more fun to go talk to an interior designer about some new furniture you want to purchase rather than scrolling on Target and IKEA all weekend, hoping
Yeah.
that the reviews that you're reading are actually legit. Right.
Been
Like
there.
not only are people hiring professionals to make things easier, to ensure that they have someone to support them and to all those kind of practical things, but also hopefully it should be a little more fun if you hire
Mhm.
someone to do something for you. Um, so I think that as soon as we have too many options and people feel overwhelmed, it's no
Mhm.
longer fun.
Yeah.
It's no longer enjoyable. But I think that there's no black and white answer of you should provide two cruise itineraries or two hotels and every there's no it's not like this. But
Mhm.
you have to know the destination
Mhm.
and you have to know the client because some clients can only handle one. And some clients, if you don't give them three, they're going to come back hitting hard of like, oh, this doesn't really feel right. Can you see another one? Well, what about this? I did some of my own research and I found this one. Well, what do you think of that? There's no one answer that's going to work for every single client, which is another
Right.
reason of why like leaning into your curiosity to get to know that client up front. That helps me understand, ooh, okay, this client, they don't need to see three hotel options in every destination. They need to see one and they need to understand why I chose it.
Mhm.
And they need to know, hey, if this isn't your vibe or if this isn't quite what you were envisioning for any reason, let me know. There are a million more hotel options in Paris that I can share with you. I
Mhm.
chose this because of X, Y, and Z based on what we discussed, and it's the right location, it's the right price point, it's got this thing that you asked for. So I feel like it's a good option. But if for any reason you want to see another option, let me know.
Yeah.
9.9 times out of 10, that client doesn't ask to see any more options. That one option is good
Okay.
because
Okay.
I explained in their words why I chose that for them.
Correct.
And they're like, she was listening. Okay, we're good here. I don't need to see other options.
Yeah.
On the flip side, there are clients who love this part of the process. And you only
Okay.
get to know that if you get to know them.
Mhm.
And you get to know them by asking questions and leaning into curiosity. So if you can feel that someone like they've done a lot of research on their own in the past and they love a good hotel, they're getting bougier with every trip that they take, and you know that there are two hotels in the city that that person might like. Now is when our sales process and our sales skills get to shine because for
Mhm.
that client we get to say, I have two options for you and they're both great options. So the hardest part is making a decision, but there's no one better than the other. Here are the
Okay.
pros and considerations for each property. This property, the location is a little bit out of city center, but it's got the rooftop bar that I know you're going to love, and it's got this spa that I know you can look forward to using on your free day because you mentioned that. I'm just making this stuff up, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, this other property is more centrally located. It is a little bit more expensive and it doesn't have that rooftop bar, but because of its location, you're probably going to be within a 5-minute walking distance of like a million fabulous restaurants. Tell me which one you love most.
Mhm.
So, if you first, I have to know the client to know can they handle two or three options. Then
Right.
I also have to know the client to know when I'm doing like a pros and considerations list, it's not just a black and white list about how many rooms they have and this one is $322 a
Yeah.
night and no, it's not like that. It's what did that person share with me is important to them,
Mhm.
and what did that person share with me about what they love about hotels or what they don't care about hotels. Some people are like, I'll never use a spa. I don't
Mhm.
need a spa. So don't tell that client who's never going to use the spa, well, this one has a spa and this one well, they're going to be like, I don't care about a spa.
Yeah.
Right? So like listen, remember, absorb those details. And then when you go back to them, say like, I know you love a rooftop bar and this one's got that, but I know that you also love like a room with a balcony and this property has those. This one doesn't have the rooftop, that one doesn't have the balcony. There's not a perfect option that has both.
Yeah.
If you speak to them about the things that they shared with you that they love, that's when they're going to feel heard.
Mhm.
That's going to help instill trust. That's what's going to keep that excitement alive between choosing between those two options. And then ultimately, like, it's what helps them feel that like working together with you as their travel advisor is super aligned, right? Like
Yes.
they made the best decision and they will
Yeah.
never leave you ever.
Correct, because they have felt, I just wrote the words seen and understood because that's what everybody
Yeah.
wants, whether it's a
Yeah.
working relationship or not, they just want to be seen and understood. I also loved where you reframe it as pros and considerations and not pros and cons. I'm like, ooh, I feel that's like a really good, that's a way to reframe. And also I feel like help sell whatever it is that you are trying to sell
Mhm.
within the proposal. Um,
Yeah,
is
like
there
consideration, like these rooms are a little bit smaller. Consideration, this room doesn't have a bathtub. I know you love a good bathtub, but like this
Mhm.
hotel doesn't have it. Consideration, this hotel has a rooftop pool, this one doesn't have a pool, but your next hotel will have a pool. Like
Right.
they're all just considerations, right? They're not
Uh-huh.
cons. They're not the fact that a hotel doesn't have a pool is not like don't ever book that hotel. It's
Nope.
just like when I say considerations, what I'm hoping and what I'm inviting the travelers to like imagine themselves already on the trip and in that
Mhm.
hotel and think like I do love a bathtub, but while I'm in London for 3 nights, am I really going to have time to use the bathtub? Or should we pick
Mm,
this other hotel for London that doesn't have a bathtub, but then in the next hotel, I can look forward to this beautiful bathtub that I can already see. Like
yeah.
I want them, I tell them, envision yourselves on this trip. You
Uh-huh.
know yourselves best. I know you love a bathtub, but do you need a bathtub in every single hotel? Some people will
Right.
say yes. Others are like, no, I really just need it like in one nice one where I have like a nice relaxing morning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because that makes me think too is like somebody might be a very heavy museums person on one trip, but on the next trip, they want the relaxation, the spa,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bathtub, and all that too. So
Yeah.
keeping that top of mind too, like what is the purpose of this trip to kind of align
Yes.
everything?
Yes. Because one, you are likely coming into every trip with a different energy, with a
Hmm.
different vibe, looking for something different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to go, 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 go and see as much as I possibly can. And other times I'm like, if you call my phone before noon, you're fired.
You're like,
Like I'm here, my energy is relaxation. And so that is even when I have repeat clients coming to me year after year to plan trips, I'm always asking them, what are we looking for on this trip?
hmm
Is it the same as in the past, or are we looking for something a little bit different? Right. And what I really mean by that is like, what's the energy that we're going for here?
hmm What are you finding that there's something that helps to close once you're presenting these options, something meaning is it written like when you're presenting options, is this like you're sending them an itinerary and you're sending notes? Is this you're jumping on a call with them? Is this you sent them like a video recording? Like what are you finding kind of works best to close the call or close the sale quickest?
Great question. So, assuming that we have asked a ton of questions, that we have really gotten to know these people, and that we have prepared a proposal that is for them, and that we are mentioning all the things that we did in that proposal for them, assuming
Mhm.
all of these things are done, right? I record a Loom video for every proposal. So
Mhm.
I deliver every proposal with a Travelify itinerary and
Okay.
me recording a Loom video with my face. You can always see my face. I know some people do it with no
Okay.
faces. I'm a big proponent. Like, let them see
I
you.
like
Like,
it.
let them know that this is a human interaction.
Yeah.
Um, and my proposal video is walking them through the itinerary step by step of I
Okay.
create a map and all the pins on the map specifically correspond to the things that are in the proposal. So like here, the two hotels that I've included in the proposal are little pins on the map. So you can see where are they located? Where are they in the city? What's the
Oh,
location? And then I put pins of all the like we in the proposal, I included these three museums and this neighborhood and this, whatever. And I put pins there so they can see like, oh, this hotel is really cool, but it's actually like really far away
uh-huh.
from all the stuff that we're going to do. Like, are we okay with that? Like, there's all these little like subconscious kind of
Right.
decisions happening, right? So I walk them through the map and that's quick. And then I go over to Travify all in this Loom video. And I just go day by day, like, okay, you're going to arrive into London and I have two hotels for you to consider. And then I walk them through the pros and considerations of those two hotels. And I say,
Uh-huh.
like, I can't wait to see what you decide. Like, let
Uh-huh.
me know. And then I usually same for activities. So let's say we have enough time to like really include like 2 or 3 activities, I'll probably include 3 or 4 options. So
Okay.
like more than what they can include, but if they can include 2 or 3, I'm not giving them 7 to choose from.
Hmm.
I want them to be like, take those 2 out and keep the rest. That's generally what it kind of looks like.
Hmm.
And so I present that proposal on the Loom video as if they're sitting next to me or as if we are on a video call.
Perfect.
I just do it on a Loom video because it's better. It works better for my schedule. It means that they can sit down and watch it whenever they want. Some
Mhm.
people watch it multiple times.
Yeah.
I encourage them to like make a cup of tea, pour a glass of wine. Like, I want you to sit down and watch this video and like have fun going through the options.
Hmm.
So I kind of like, I even say that in the email of like, I've spent a lot of time on this proposal. I'm really excited for you to look through it. I have so many options for you to think about. I recorded a video. Like, please make a cup of tea, pour a glass of wine, and like have fun. I
Oh, I
say that in
love
the
that.
email.
Yeah.
Um, and then after the video, in the email, I put next steps. Like, here are 3 or 4 questions for you. So very specifically, like, watch the video, respond to my email, and answer the questions. And the
Hmm.
questions are like, which hotel do you prefer in London? Which hotel do you prefer in Edinburgh? On your free day, do you want to have a spa day or do you want to go do this other activity I shared? And I ask, like, here are 3 or 4 or 5 questions that I need you to answer. And then they respond back and they usually say, like, this hotel, this activity, this. I'm like, perfect. I
Perfect.
update the itinerary, I present the invoice, and we book the trip.
That is, it makes my heart happy because I feel like these are not only like asking the right questions, but this is also almost like a little masterclass on delivering really great client experience, because these are the examples that travel advisors like need to hear and see about, that kind of like can stand you out
Mhm.
from just an order taker again to somebody who is
Right,
the modern travel
right.
advisor trying to create a relationship with somebody and like really get in their brain as to what this trip is. So thank you for that. And I love the map tip. Is that on Google Maps that you're
Yeah,
doing that?
yep. Yeah, I make a
That's
custom
awesome.
map for every proposal. And I think that the missing component that I didn't really mention that makes sure that the sales process like closes and deposits and like confirms seamlessly is
Mhm.
that budget component.
Mm.
And so early in my experience starting my agency, I wasn't always asking for the budget range up front, either because I was embarrassed and I couldn't find the courage to talk about money,
Mhm.
and or I didn't know what the budget should be.
Okay.
And I remember in the first couple of years, I can like think back vividly to the trips that like felt so hard. And about 50% of them never confirmed. Like, they just like didn't book, or the other 50%, like, we finally booked, but it took so much back and forth, and so many options and so many like modifications, and just like the process was so slow and drawn out that it felt painful for me. There's
Uh-huh.
no way it felt good for those clients, and those
Right.
clients have not come back to me, which
Mm.
confirms this did not feel good for them.
Uh-huh.
This was not an experience that they want to repeat with me. And this is not an experience that they are recommending to their friends and family.
Okay.
And so the key to that solved that for me was talk about the numbers up front.
Mhm.
And so if a trip is coming in and they are asking about a destination that I don't know anything about, that is the number one thing I will go research before the discovery call is,
Okay.
what is this trip going to cost? What do 4-star hotels cost? What do 5-star hotels
Yeah.
cost? What does an average 10-day trip in this destination look like? I mean, that's when I'm firing off messages to my partners. Like, I'll email a DMC and say, like, hey, I have a discovery call tomorrow. And this is kind of what they're thinking. Like, what's the minimum, what's the maximum, like, what's a range I can talk to them about, and what are some high level questions I should be asking? But I'll
Mhm.
be honest with you, this is not the frantic last minute emails to supplier partners. It's, they may not be able to respond, and that's not their responsibility, right?
Mhm.
This education is ours, and so this is often something that I will talk with colleagues about. I will ask for sample itineraries from colleagues of like, hey, have you ever planned a trip to Morocco before? Like, can I see it? Can I just like
Uh-huh.
get a sense of like what is this? And I try to do a lot of research on my own to get these answers, because when you're in that call, you need to get that range, because a big part of my video delivery proposal is everything here is within the $12,000 to $15,000 range that we discussed.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about numbers. You don't have to worry about the nightly rate at any of these hotels. You don't have to worry about what any of these experiences cost. I have built this proposal knowing that you're not going to include everything, knowing that you're going to pick 2 or 3 of these experiences, knowing that you're going to pick one of these hotels. And no matter what you pick, we are going to land in the $12,000 to $15,000 range. So don't focus on numbers, focus on the experiences and tell me what you're excited about most. And so that also like gives them peace of mind that like I was listening
Mhm.
and that I honored the range that they told me.
Yeah.
Because if I come back with a proposal and if I do everything I just said, I record a Loom video, I make a Google map, I tell them to pour a glass of wine in their email, I give them the questions, but then they wanted a $12,000 trip and I'm delivering a $17,000 proposal, nothing that you did mattered,
Mhm.
because now they're going to feel she wasn't listening,
Yeah.
or she was listening and she just didn't respect what we
Correct.
shared. And now I don't trust anything here. So now, if I were the client, I would
Oh,
start going to quote all those hotels by myself. I would go start
yeah.
researching prices. And then that's when you get people coming back saying, well, I found this private tour, food tour thing on Viator, and it's only $93 a person. So what's this $17,000 about? That's how you get into those conversations.
Mhm.
But by asking the numbers up front and then delivering a proposal saying we're in this range, and then they make their selections, and then I say, based on your selections, here's the invoice, and the invoice is $14,200.
Uh-huh.
That is how you close sales faster. Is you
Yeah.
ask questions, you listen, and you deliver on what was decided in the call.
Boom. It's almost like the overarching thing that I'm getting is like, just close your mouth for a little bit
Yes, yes.
and let them just
Listen,
brain dump on you.
if you're talking, it should end with a question mark.
Oh, ooh, I love that pro tip. Oh, if you're talking, it should end with a question mark. I know I feel like we could keep like gabbing on, but I know that we are like over time. You were
I get very
mentioning,
excited. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's totally fine. You were mentioning a lot about this research and like pulling information from other advisors, and I'm like, well, that sounds like a very good resource we all know.
This
So,
is the Hive.
because yes, yeah, tell
My
us a little bit more
obsession
about
with
it.
this part of the process is why I built the Hive. Is
Uh-huh.
like, well, how do I know where to go find this information? How can I go ask colleagues? How can I go find sample itineraries? It's all in the Hive.
Uh-huh.
It's all in the Hive. And now to even further support this kind of collective wisdom, help me learn about this destination as quick as possible so that I can talk to a client about it, to help support all of this kind of like this energy of selling and
Mhm.
talking to clients knowledgeably and confidently. I'm starting another podcast just for this.
Woo!
Yes.
Spoiler.
It's called Hive Mind, and it is specifically for this exactly, and it's because I want this. Like,
Uh-huh.
even though I've been running my travel agency for 10 years, just this week, Rita, I had a very, very good client come to
Yeah.
me and say, we would love to go to China, and we know you're our person because you lived there for 6 years. And I was like, yes, when are we going? And she's like, we want to leave in 6 weeks. I was like, no problem. Like, I speak Mandarin, I lived there for 6 years, let's, we can do this. And then I
Mhm.
realized, because I lived there, that the dates that she gave me are over Golden Week, which is just, it's like the Christmas of, like, you don't want to be in China over Golden Week because
Uh-huh.
everything's either closed or it is just like crazy, crazy, crazy busy with domestic tourism.
Okay.
And so I was like, I don't know if this is when you want to be there, because they want to go to Beijing. And so that's, of course, like the most, it's going to be busy.
Yeah.
So she came back and she was like, all right, pivot. We want to go to South Korea in 6 weeks. Can we do it? And I was like, I've never been to South Korea. I don't know anything about South Korea. I don't even have a partner in South Korea. And I was like, I do not feel confident turning this around for you in 6 weeks. Like, I'm going to
Mhm.
be really honest. And she was like,
Mhm.
okay. And so they're going to find something else. But the point of all of this is that I am 10 years in and I am still to this very week getting inquiries about destinations that I don't know about. Now, if she had said, we want to go to South Korea next spring, I would have been like, let's
We
schedule a
got
call for
time.
next week. And I'm going to take the next week to go learn about that. And then we're going
Yeah.
to chat about it. But I had to say no because it's in 6 weeks and I couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
I built the Hive to support this part of the sales process. All of like so much of our job is knowledge gathering. And then once we have all that knowledge, where do we put it?
Mm-hmm.
We need a place to organize it, to store it, to share it with colleagues, to be able to go back 6 months later and find what we're looking for. And so that's why I started the Hive 2 years ago. And now this is why I'm starting the Hivemind podcast to even dive deeper into just like we have all of this collective wisdom in the industry, like suppliers and hoteliers and advisors, like just come tell me all the things, tell me about
Yeah.
this destination and tell me about the logistics and the unique experiences and what does a typical budget look like and how many days do we need there and what does a first time visitor do versus a second time visitor
Yeah.
and then bring in all the advisors who just got home from a fam and who were in Marrakesh and they saw 7 hotels in one day, right? Like we see this all the time and I'm just
Right.
like, tell me about all the 7 hotels. Well,
Tell
what do
me
I need to know?
everything.
Like what this one is amazing, but like, is it for everyone? We know that no is the answer, right? So
Mhm.
like, what type of client is this hotel for? And what type of client is this hotel for? And like, oh, they have an incredible spa. I didn't even know about that. Like,
Mhm.
oh, when we check in, we're supposed to go to the bar and order that cocktail. I didn't know that. So there's just all these, like, this collective wisdom is out there.
Yeah.
And we don't have a really good way right now of just like bringing it all together for the benefit of
Yeah, like a
everybody.
central.
And so the Hive is that, and now I'm further extending it to the Hive Mind podcast to allow people or to enable people to just kind of tap into these conversations all the time and just
Yeah.
keep picking up on those little nuggets because those nuggets are how I know what questions to ask when I go have a call with a client. All these little
Yeah.
nuggets.
And that's how you improve your skills too as a travel advisor. Like always being open, always being curious, not only about your clients, but about different destinations, about yourself as well. And you never know see where
All about
things land up.
curiosity.
Yeah.
Just like lead with curiosity.
Yeah.
And
I
I think it like that is the sales process in my opinion. Like lead with curiosity.
Well, you know what? I forgot to even we were supposed to have a secret word, and I think curiosity is going to be the secret
Totally
word.
forgot
That's
about that.
perfect.
I did not do I failed on that. I'm sorry,
No,
I
no, no.
forgot.
You're fine. Normally I pick something out from our conversations and I'm like, you know what? That's a great way to
Curiosity,
end.
that's a perfect one. Curiosity was my secret word. That's what I was going to do all along.
I love it. It's something that I personally lead with as well. So curiosity, travel advisors, like mark that down wherever you're keeping your words, your secret words. Thank you so much for being here, Whitney. Where are the best places? I mean, I know they can go into their podcast app now and start searching for the Hive Mind and
Yes.
listening to the first episode, but where else can people connect with you?
Yes, absolutely. Go search Hive Mind because that is a brand new podcast that you'll find in your feed. So it's the Hive Mind podcast. If you search Hive Mind, it's all one word, Hive
Okay,
Mind, which
perfect.
means like collective wisdom.
Love it.
I love it so much. And then on Instagram at Masters in Travel, and then also on Instagram at the Hive dot travel are the
Okay.
two accounts.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, and I'll make sure to put all of the links below. Um, but I think that's a wrap. This was a really great
Thank you so
full
much. This
pack
was so
session.
fun.
Yes, thank you for being here, especially to you guys, travel advisors. I hope you have gotten tons of information because I know Whitney spilled a lot in this session. Also, make sure to check out, we've got the virtual swag bag, we've got our virtual trade show. So if you're looking for supplemental resources to help with any of these items, that is your best place to check out. All right, thanks everybody. Tomorrow is growth day. So best day, last day, growth day. So I can't wait to see you there. See you then. Bye.